synagogue. Let them make for me a sanctuary that I may dwell amongst them. I rejoice when they say to me, let us go to the house of the Lord. I will establish them and multiply them, and I will set my sanctuary among them forever. My dwelling place shall be with them, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people. Lord, who shall dwell in thy tabernacle, and who abide upon thy mountain? He who walks uprightly and works righteousness and speaks truth in his heart. I will bring them to my holy mountain and make them rejoice in my house of prayer. Their offerings and their sacrifices shall be accepted upon my altar. For my house shall be a house of prayer for all peoples. You shall keep my Sabbaths and reverence my sanctuary, for I am the Lord. It is that which I will seek, to dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to behold the graciousness of the Lord, and to visit early in his temple. Now, O my God, may thine eyes be open and thine ears hearken to the prayer that is offered in this place. Revered God, God of Israel, from thy holy places thou givest strength and power to thy people. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord for length of days. Happy is the one whom thou dost choose, and draw near that he may dwell in thy courts. May we be satisfied with the goodness of thy house, the holy place of thy temple. Yes, Now it's my personal pleasure to be able to welcome all of you who are members of Baron Hirsch, your children, our grandchildren, who are with us today, and in addition, we welcome those who are not members of our congregation, but who feel close enough to us and have honored us with their presence today. It would be impossible for me to try to call out the names of many who I see in the audience today who are not members but who shared this moment, and I hope that they will excuse me for not calling out names because I don't want to leave anyone out inadvertently. This is certainly a blessed moment in the history of a great and revered congregation. A moment that's been looked forward to not only by me and my administration, but by at least 5 past presidents of our congregation, their boards, and by literally hundreds and hundreds of our members. We recognized many years ago with great reluctance that our magnificent Voluntein facilities, probably the most outstanding in the entire world, no longer could provide that single setting in which our congregation could survive and grow and develop an observant and a vibrant future. So we then began to move forward just by degree. First, you'll recall in a trailer at the corner of Shady Grove and Yates. And then a while later, we obtained the former Isaac Hayes home. And after we used that for a while, we added on to and remodeled that building. And then finally, not too long ago, through mainly the efforts of Sam Chaffetz, one of our members, and who incidentally with his wife Pat and their family have been the newest addition to the neighborhood, having just moved into their new home, in which we wish them long years of good health and happiness. Just very recently, through Sam's efforts and the generosity, I might add, of a non-Jew, we acquired this site and this building. And then, through your action in our general meetings of the membership, you authorized us to commence the design of the facilities that we would finally need to unify our congregation. And we then employed Ben Hirsch, a prominently, nationally known synagogue architect, and Jack McFarland of McFarland Associates, who's with us this morning, to design what we would ultimately build. And we were authorized by the congregation to raise funds to make this possible and to construct these facilities. And that's what has brought us to today. But what is Baron Hirsch? If you think about it, you obviously recognize that Baron Hirsch is an Orthodox congregation of greater than 100 years of age and service, and a history that has represented consistency and continuity in a Jewish world sorely needing it. Baron Hirsch has continued from generation to generation as if recalling the prayer in the Shema, "And thou shalt teach thy children diligently." Through our services, our educational and our other programs, in effect through our togetherness, the family feeling that's here at Baron Hirsch. And this has continued throughout our community and as well in our daily lives. As you look around this room this morning, you will find families that are represented today. I don't mean in the past, I mean today by 4 generations, who not only are listed as members, but who are daily users and contributors to what is and will be Baron Hirsch. In a personal reflection, Marilyn and I are thrilled to have our parents and our children and our grandchildren all with us today, in the real sense of the word, and many of you are similarly blessed. This is also a particularly gratifying moment for me because my revered father, Philip Bells, was president of Baron Hirsch when we commenced and actually constructed the facilities on Valentine. And in fact, as I reflect upon it, I had just gotten out of college. Marilyn and I had just been married a short while, and I was placed on the board of Baron Hirsch. And that facility was constructed. To be able to be president of Baron Hirsch at a time when we finally have the joy of commencing the construction of the facilities which will unify us is a great personal thrill, and I think you can all understand it. And in connection with reflecting on Baron Hirsch, I wish each of you would reflect at this time on what this congregation, what this synagogue has meant to you and to your loved ones from the very earliest moments of your memory to now. Remembering occasions such as your Sunday school, our Talmud Torah, the social events that we had, bas and bar mitzvah, marriages, and in times of sadness and great joy. But even more so, visualize the greatness of an unlimited future which is within our means to make happen. Baron Hirsch, with your participation and the support that you give to the clergy, the wonderful clergy that we have, and as well to this administration and the future administrations, will remain here and elsewhere a shining beacon of a modern Orthodox traditional way of life. And from it will come dynamic and great leaders from the very children who will be participating in this program today and those young people who are with us in this congregation today. And God willing, from their children as well. They will be people who will make their marks here and elsewhere in professions, as citizens of a blessed land, and as great family leaders, and as role models. All this is within your power to make it happen, including that little baby. Our goal, our plan, our intention is to be unified here once again in our completed facilities, please God, for the High Holy Days of 1987, as one great Baron Hirsch family, together again and forever, praying, socializing and otherwising, each lending his and her strength to one another. And as we consider this vision, let us all remember that it is both a privilege and a responsibility of each member to know in their hearts that they have contributed their share of the financial cost in full measure to their ability. And then, and only then, will we each have earned that right to know in our hearts that we are true builders for the future, our future, and that of our children's children. Thank you. And now it gives me great pleasure to call on Dr. Larry Rubel, who is the chairman of our fundraising campaign, to speak with you.
The first words that a Jew says when he enters the synagogue in the morning are Matovu Oholecha Yaakov Mishkanosecha Yisrael. How goodly are your tents, O Jacob, your dwelling places, O Israel. Amazingly, these are the same words as Rabbi Grossman taught us a few weeks ago, that our enemies use when they want to curse us. He taught us that Bilam, the philosopher of old, who when he wanted to curse the Israelites, used these words. But he thought they meant, what good are your tents? But our sages teach us that the real meaning of that phrase is, how good are your synagogues, your dwelling places? It is true, this phrase teaches us, that the synagogue is really the core of the Jewish people, the centrality. We learned that painfully within our own lifetime. When, as we discussed yesterday, Hitler, when he wanted to begin the destruction of the Jewish people, began with Kristallnacht, the destruction of every synagogue in Germany. When they want to curse us, when they want to get rid of us, it's the synagogue that goes first. What good are your tents, Bilam says? Well, interestingly, from our standpoint, we have actually dwelt in tents for almost 10 years. As Jack just indicated, we began in a trailer, certainly nothing much more than a tent. Then we went to the Isaac Hayes home, and now we're in a refurbished auditorium. But we not only functioned in these tents, under Rabbi Grossman we have actually flourished. And this has been recognized on a national level. Amazingly, we have flourished and grown as one of the most outstanding Orthodox synagogues in the country while simply dwelling in tents. Can you imagine what the future holds for us when we finally enter our temple? We set a goal of approximately $4.3 million. To date, with the help of really but a core of individuals, we have realized about 75% of that figure. Our last numbers indicate that we have raised $3.1 million. That $3.1 million comes from barely 1/3 of our congregation, about 350 out of 900 families. That means that there are about 600 families who have yet to contribute to the building of our new and beautiful synagogue. We hope to contact every one of those individuals. In addition, there are other potential sources of money for us. There are relatives of people who are buried in our cemeteries, who certainly, I'm sure, feel some sort of obligation to this synagogue. In addition, there are alumni of our Sunday school and Talmud Torah who likewise, I feel certain, would like to be part of this great venture. Now, I indicated that there were but a core of people who have assisted us. And although Jack didn't want to identify people for fear of leaving anyone out, it is imperative that I indicate to you who these people are, because they have been immeasurably important to our campaign. The first three are the most important, because they have given so much time that it is absolutely unbelievable. And they are Sidney and George Levine and Jane Eddinghoff, and publicly, I want to thank them so much. For 2 months, I could call Jane, Sidney, or Joyce daily at this synagogue in order to find out exactly how we were going. In addition, there has been a kind of campaign cabinet that included Joan Baum, a sister-in-law, Sam Chaffetz, Irving Scott, Ike Ashkenazi, David Katz, Andy Groveman, Sue Ann Lipsey, Louis Bard, Marlon Graber, George Matz, and Butch Caleb, and again, I publicly thank these people. One other person, an old friend from Federation, the former executive director, who is not even a member of our synagogue, who gave 2 months to us to help run this campaign, and that's Jack Lieberman. I'm not sure he's here today, but Jack, he is. Jack, what can I say? We drank together in Jerusalem, we worked together in Memphis. I thank you very much. And finally, since Jack has to leave, we're very thankful that David Strassfeld is volunteering his time to take over where Jack left off. I feel quite confident that within a short period of time, the $4.3 million that we need will be available so that we can move from the tents into the synagogues. Thank you very much.
We are truly blessed in having the most outstanding Orthodox rabbi as our spiritual leader, the most outstanding there is anywhere. His eloquence, his leadership, his ability is renowned, and it's been a tremendous pleasure for me in the years that we've had Rabbi Grossman and his family with us to be able to work together in the friendship and love, and to see, as Larry said, what he has done for our congregation in these years, and as Larry said, literally intense. And we do look forward so much to what we will all do with one another and for one another when we get these wonderful facilities completed. It gives me great pleasure now to call on Rabbi Grossman.
Thank you, Jack. Dr. Ribble, what a pleasure to us to come here and see the program begin with some of the most magnificent chanting I've heard in a long time. And all I can say is, Rabbi Scott, we're counting on you in health and strength. Ad bias Mashiach Tzidkenu. I think it was an inspiration. Thank you. I delight that the rabbis in the community who all wanted to be here, but one is on vacation and the other has illness in the family. That my very dear friend, Rabbi Harry Danziger of Temple Israel, is here and does honor us with his presence. I appreciate it very much. The Talmud teaches, if I may quote, Asidu v'teknesiu shebechutz la'aretz libnos be'eretz Yisrael. And the synagogues, what a pleasure it was to come here and see the program begin with some of the most magnificent chanting I've heard in a long time. And all I can say is, Rabbi Scott, we're counting on you in health and strength. At Bias Mashiach Tzidkenu. I think it was an inspiration. Thank you. I delight that the rabbis in the community who all wanted to be here, but one is on vacation and the other has illness in the family. And my very dear friend, Rabbi Harry Danziger of Temple Israel, is here and does honor us with his presence. I appreciate it very much. The Talmud teaches, if I may quote, Asidu Motikneshir Shebechutz La'aretz Nivnos Be'eretz Yisrael. The synagogues in the diaspora outside of Israel will be uplifted when the Messiah comes and be rebuilt on the soil of Israel. For us Jews, as we face at this very moment the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, the synagogue is in a sense a part of that which has always been the eternal aspiration of the Jewish people. A Jew's place is at the Beis HaMikdash, at the Holy Temple. And when the Romans destroyed the Second Temple, and it was no longer possible for us to bring our offerings and there to worship as one people to the one God, and when we were dispersed everywhere, persecuted everywhere, oppressed by everyone, what stirred our hopes, what gave us the strength, the inspiration, and the means by which to withstand whatever it was our destiny or the will of God for us to endure, was the dream to return to Zion, the dream and prayer to stand once again upon that sacred soil, in that holy place. And when we could not be there physically, we built synagogues which were part of that holy place. And if today there is an Israel, and if today and for the past 36 years and forever, there is and will be an Israel, it is because the hope, the dream was sustained by the synagogues we built wherever they were. We built synagogues in Alexandria in Egypt, in Greece, in Spain, in Africa, in the jungle, in the deserts, on the mountains, in the valleys. And we came to this nation. We came to these blessed shores of the United States. And we came to Galveston, Texas. And we came to the Lower East Side of Manhattan, to Boyle Heights in Chicago, to Watts in Los Angeles, to the Pinch in Memphis, to Tunica, Mississippi, Helena, Arkansas, Fallsburg, New York, towns and villages and hamlets, cities and great urban centers, from Anchorage, Alaska, to somewhere near the South Pole in Argentina, but whenever a few Jews gathered, they built a synagogue. And we built a synagogue and synagogues in Memphis. And one was Baron Hirsch. named for a great Russian Jewish philanthropist. Immigrant Jews. It's not the Jews of today. These are people who barely managed the English language. These were some of the grandparents and great-grandparents of people here. They had a dream. They had faith. They had hope. They knew they were in a strange land. They knew this was a strange language. They knew this was a culture somewhat alien to them. But what they knew they would sustain for posterity. Let it be America as it was Poland. Let it be the South as it was Ukraine, as it was anywhere. We are Jews, and Jews cannot be without a house of God. In our congregation, we built on 4th and Washington. That was a beautiful synagogue. I had the good fortune of seeing it. In fact, the sanctuary, if I'm not mistaken, still stands. It's the Menorah Institute. It was a school where many of our very members today received their Jewish knowledge and learning. It no longer stands, if I'm right. But it was a great institution. I remember I was 15 years old. I traveled across America for whatever reason. I remember someone telling me in St. Louis, they have a shul down there in Memphis. It's called Hirsch. It's dynamic. It's full of life. And then a challenge was accepted that was literally unheard of by anyone, and those who read about it, and those who talked about it, and those who saw it didn't believe it. The people were told that the largest house of worship, the largest Jewish house of worship in the free world, outside the Iron Curtain, was of the whole places in Memphis, Tennessee, and that the largest Orthodox congregation in the United States was in Memphis, Tennessee. People looked with shock. It can't be. How many Jews are there in Memphis? 8,500? 9,000? Perhaps a few more? But far more important than the size of that synagogue built on Valentine was the warmth and love, was the commitment that Netzach Yisrael lo yishaker, that the eternity of Israel shall not falter, that we are a people who shall remain and endure. We're a mobile people. We Jews are the original wanderers. Moses took his staff, and the children of Israel followed through the wilderness. And Jews began to move eastward. Properly. It's only the first step in the right direction, eastward. You know the ultimate direction, east. It's a step closer to the day God will bring us to the land we love. And Baron Hirsch accepted a challenge that is both painful, poignant, and yet exciting. We worship in two places. The same way, the same Torah, the same God, the same people. The challenge was to come back and to meet the needs of our time. Incredibly. We showed vitality where none thought it would exist. We showed inspiration and creativity, but even I must admit, did not anticipate. And we're moving forward. The soil, which will be turned, will be spread with soil taken from the Mountain of Olives, which is of particular significance to me. The Mountain of Olives faces the Holy Mount, the Temple Mount, where the temple once stood, and where now the sacred shrine of the Jewish people stands, the Western Wall. It's also the same soil in which 40 generations of my family, my parents included, are interred. It's a soil where we're told that when the Messiah comes and the dead shall be resurrected and brought back to life, the first to be brought back to life, the first upon whom God will perform the miracle of Tchias HaMesim, will be those who are on the mountain of Olives. That soil will consecrate our land, so that when the day comes and soon, our new house of God will stand there. It will have already been built, not only upon the age-old principles of Torah and Yiddishkeit, Judaism, but upon the soil of that land, where someday this very synagogue will stand for posterity. Ladies and gentlemen, we often obscure and underestimate the value of what experiences we're privileged to share. You and I, shortly, will be privileged to be part of history. History. The building again a great house. A statement. Do you know what the statement is, my friends? There are those who are writing obituaries for Judaism and Jews. Our statement is, Am Yisrael Chai. The Jewish people live.
And it gives me a great thrill to be able to call on my father, Philip Ells, to turn the first shovel of dirt and to pour earth, as Rabbi Grossman had said, from the mountain of Olives to consecrate our soil. Look, Atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shechayoנו v'kimonu v'higayonu lazman hazeh. Amen. Don't try to build the entire building at once. This is all right. Next, I want to call on Mr. Sam Markland. Mr. Jacob Bells. Where's Jake? Here he comes. No, over there, Jake. Huh? That's Hotel. You want me to go over there? Turn it off. Mr. Bell, please.
Jake, could you get back over to your corner? Andy. Andy.
Then they're going to go ahead and dig a little bit of dirt. They're going to then go to the center and then sing and
Take Stanley Winder. Bob Unison. There's a mix.
Andy, have you seen Harry Friedman? No, Harry Friedman. You seen Harry Friedman
In the west, at the west corner. Where's Ireland? Ira doesn't like to do anything by himself, so he's got to have assistants, Gus, Josh, and Benjamin. Where is Benjamin? Now, Buddy Moss.
Where's his brother? Right there. Oh.
Right there, the other side.
Okay. Louis Sturman, Mr.
That way.